Welcome to the Going 6A Quick Tips video training. In this edition, we will discuss how to get the most out of attending a meeting. As a distributor, it is important for you to know the objectives of attending a meeting with a guest. There are actually at least 6 different objectives you should achieve every time you bring a guest to a meeting. These are reviewing the project information, experiencing a live product demonstration, getting a snapshot view of the business and compensation plan, answering questions, introducing the guest to team members and speaker if possible, and receiving third-party verification. When you invite a guest to a meeting, your job as a distributor starts before the meeting does. It is important to prepare things before the meeting, so your guest can get the most out of it. It starts before you even arrive at the meeting. There are 2 very important things that you will need to do. Be on time, meaning arrive before your guest, and dress to impress. You don't have to wear a tuxedo, but this is a business meeting, so be sure to dress nicely. And be sure to tell your guest that the attire is business casual. The next things you have to know are your objectives. Keep in mind why you have this person coming to the meeting in the first place. When you go to a meeting, make sure you have materials to give your guests, even if it's just one brochure. Remember that everything you give a prospect is an exposure, and the more exposures a prospect gets and the more they learn, the more they become connected to the project. Once your guest arrives, introduce them to others and help them feel comfortable. Get your guest water, and be sure to have them turn off their cell phone. You don't want an unexpected call to embarrass them and make them feel awkward. The last thing is to not give your guest a pre-presentation, which means don't talk about anything that will be covered during the meeting. Instead, talk about anything else: family, work, sports, the weather, anything but what is going to be covered during the meeting. This saves the impact of the meeting for the meeting, which will make it a much better experience for everyone. Make sure that you sit as close to the front as possible. Remember that every row behind the front row holds the potential of some sort of distraction, so try to keep those behind you. Be sure to turn off your cell phone. An unexpected call during a meeting creates very unwanted attention, and many people find a phone that is not turned off during a meeting as extremely rude. While the meeting is going on, be sure to be attentive to your guest and pay attention. Remember that you are there for them, but you are also there to continue to learn. If asked to participate, do so. Your energy helps keep the presenter going, so if you want good energy to come from the stage, good energy needs to come from the audience. You should set an example and have a pen and paper handy and take a few notes. If you are taking notes, then your guest will understand that this really is important information and they will pay attention more closely. Make sure that you do not cause any disruptions. Keep your nose out of your phone during the presentation. Nothing says, "This really isn't that important," better than paying more attention to your phone than the presenter. No whisper conversations, everyone can hear them. No social powwows. Wait until the meeting is over to catch up with old friends, and no unnecessary talking. If your guest has a question, tell them to write it down and that you will talk about it when the meeting is done. Do not start giving an answer during the meeting. As soon as a meeting is over, gather your guests and see if there are any questions. If there are, do your best to answer them or get a more experienced distributor to help you out. Offer samples of water to your guests and have water bags ready to go. Don't bring empty water bags to fill after the meeting. There can sometimes be long lines of people, and your guests should not have to wait because you did not come prepared. If possible, introduce your guests to the presenter. If you can't, try to introduce them to the most experienced distributors at the meeting. Make sure you have paperwork handy, just in case. The last thing you want is to have someone say they would like to buy a machine and you not have the necessary paperwork. Keep focused. The end of the meeting is not the time to start talking about other things. Keep you focused and keep them focused. Here are a few more tips to help you make the most of a meeting. Remember that there are 3 separate parts to a presentation, and they are all important. It is important that you let the presenter present. They are providing information on your behalf, so let them do their job. Be respectful of other guests by not talking during the meeting. And lastly, as a distributor, you should be there to learn. So really pay attention until you know the information well enough for you to go on stage and present. This concludes this Going 6A Distributor Essentials Quick Tips video training. If you want to make the most out of attending a meeting, just remember this training and the simple ways you can make the meeting experience better for you and your guests. Be sure to review this information as often as you need, learn all you can, and give yourself the best chance possible at developing a successful Kongen business.